Okay, Unit 1, Geometry, Day 4. We are still going to talk about angle relationships. This is just happening to be part 2. So you want to have a piece of scratch paper or a piece of loose leaf paper that you can put into your binder. Remember, there is tentatively, which means probably going to be a quiz on Thursday. Tomorrow will be a review day. So, first, here's what I'm going to put. These are all the things that you're going to need to know for the quiz so far. These are all the things you're going to need to know for the quiz so far. The first is naming an angle. So an example would be angle LTB. How do you know that it's angle LTB? You might see something that has a T, an L, and a B. So that's the first thing. The second is being able to distinguish what type of angle they are. Is it acute? Is it right? Is it obtuse? Is it straight? Then, just like the worksheet that we did, that we just got done going over, that it's in your classwork, parents, they should have it in their binder. They just hole punched it. I watched them. So if they say, oh, I didn't get that worksheet, I'd ask again, because they have it. Just called you all out. I just called you all out on video. You have it. So, the next thing, you're going to need to know complementary angles and complements. So you're going to need to know, hey, complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. If it asks for a complement, I take 90 minus whatever angle there is. We're also going to talk about supplementary angles and finding a supplement.
I thought of another way to remember supplementary angles and supplement the other day is that S is the same as straight.
Ooh, I like it.
So S is straight line, and straight lines are 180 degrees. So S and straight.
I love that, Mrs. Armstrong. Can you say it one more time? Because I'm old and I don't have great hearing. Can you say it one more time for me?
Sure. S is the same letters, so supplement and straight both have an S at the beginning. So we know that straight angles measure 180 degrees.
I love that. I love that. Now, today, we are learning 3 new words. Okay, we're learning 3 new words today. First, we are going to learn, and I'm going to put a number 5 next to it because guess what you're going to have to know? This for the quiz. So number 5 is the word adjacent angles. Okay, so we're learning about adjacent angles. Adjacent angles have a very geometric definition, so I'm going to really try to speak like a mathematician, and then I'll make it easy for you. Fair enough? So we're going to start mathematicians, and then we'll go backwards. First, adjacent angles are angles that have a common, which means same, vertex, and share a side. Remember, sides of angles are made up of what? What are the sides, bless you, of an angle made up of, Emma?
Rays.
Of rays. So they share a side, which means bless you. Okay, bless you. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Do you need a Kleenex?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
You're welcome. Angles that have a common, which means same vertex, and share a side, which means sharing a ray. Now, I told you we'd make it easier. That's the geometric definition. Adjacent. Means next to. So right now, if you're sitting in the middle, so I'm going to use Carly as an example. Carly is in the middle. She is adjacent to both Elizabeth and Jackson. Jackson is only adjacent to Carly. Notice how the desks... Sorry, I moved your stuff. I didn't even ask. I'm sorry. You should just let Mr. H. I hate you so much. See how we have these desks that's sharing these common sides right here? This is adjacent. Even though Jackson's sitting in the same row as Elizabeth, are they adjacent to each other? No, they're not next to each other. Luke is adjacent to Gabriel and Taylor, but not Renee. Everybody with me? So, let's take a look. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3. So here's our question. Which angles are adjacent to angle 3? Now, watch what happens here. Here is my common, the same vertex. All the angles have the same vertex. So for something to be adjacent to 3, I just drew on my hand with marker. Here's 3. I'm going to outline 3 in red. An angle has to share part of that red ray. Which angle is adjacent to angle 3? Come on, I need more than a couple hands. I've only got 3 hands. I need more hands. I need more hands. Izzy, which one? Angle 2. Angle 2 shares this ray. Does angle 1 share a side? Angle 1 is not adjacent to angle 3. Adjacent means next to. Okay? Can complementary angles be adjacent? Let's see. If I give you this, and I put 10 degrees here and x degrees here, are x and 10 adjacent?
No. Yeah.
So I want thumbs up, I want thumbs down. Thumbs up for who thinks they are adjacent. Thumbs up for who thinks they are adjacent. Okay, thumbs down who thinks they are not adjacent. Well, let's see. What did I tell you that I'd like you to do? I'd like you to outline them. So you can do squiggly because you don't have colors, which is fine. So I'm going to squiggle. There's a side of 10. There's a side of 10. Let's outline the x degree. Let's do it in a different color. Here's green. So here's a ray of x. Uh-oh, guess what just happened? Did I overlap the red? Because it's sharing this side, those are adjacent. Therefore, there are times that complementary angles are adjacent. So could we find x? I want everybody right now. You have 12 seconds. Find what x needs to be. Find what x needs to be and then tell your shoulder neighbor. So find out what x needs to be and then tell your shoulder neighbor.
X needs to be 90.
Okay, you're going to use whisper voices. On the count of 3, I want you to tell me what x needs to be. Okay, whisper voices. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. It needs to be 80 degrees. Why? If the whole thing is 90, and we know part of the 90-degree angle is 10 degrees, we take that away. X then equals 80 degrees because those are complementary. So we've got adjacent angles. The next word. So this is number 6 for your test, quiz, thing, assessment. Is linear pair. Linear pair. What word do we see in the word linear? What word do we see in the word linear?
Oh, look at all those hands. Let's
Izzy.
see if we can get some more.
Line. We see the word line. Remember, when we're talking about angle relationships, how many angles are we talking about? 2. So these are 2 angles that, guess what they're going to form? A line. The reason we start with adjacent is because we need adjacent for this definition. Adjacent, 2 angles that have the same vertex but share a side. A linear pair. 2 adjacent supplementary. So we're throwing a lot of geometry words. Adjacent, 2 angles that are next to. Supplementary, 2 angles that add up to 180 degrees. So 2 adjacent supplementary angles. That's it. 2 adjacent supplementary angles. We know supplementary are 2 angles that add up to 180. We know adjacent means they have to be next to each other. So here's an example of a linear pair. Is there a line? Are there only 2 angles? X, Y. Those are a linear pair. We know x plus y has to equal what? What does x plus y have to equal, Izzy? 180. So we can say linear pair. So x plus y equals 180 degrees. We know straight lines have to add up to 180. It just has a specific name when there's only 2 angles. Remember, only 2 angles. So 2 adjacent supplementary angles are a linear pair. One more and only one more word for the quiz. Fair enough? I know I've gone fast. We're going to have plenty of time to review. We're going to have plenty of time to do some examples. Last word. I'm going to draw it over here. I'm going to leave adjacent angles up. Number 7. Vertical angles. You have seen vertical angles on that classwork sheet already. The one that we did, you have seen. I'm coming over to check my phone. Whew, I thought I wasn't recording. I got my heart started beating a little bit faster because that's happened in this class before. So, vertical angles. Angles that are formed by 2 intersecting lines. So that's first. They're formed by 2 intersecting lines. Intersecting means they cross. Well, there's something else that has to happen. The angles are non-adjacent, which means they do not share a side, opposite angles. So the angles are non-adjacent, opposite angles. Right now, who is opposite of me? Izzy's opposite of me. Is Jackson opposite of me or is he next to me? He's more next to me, right? Opposite is straight across, straight across, straight across. So vertical angles. And then we're going to put one more thing here. So I'm going to put a star. This is the most important part about vertical angles. Vertical angles have the same measure. Can we see that? Not really. Let's move this just a little bit. There we go. So vertical angles have the same measure. So here's our example. I'm going to put it up a little bit higher so we can see it. Two angles. There's my intersecting lines. Non-adjacent means they do not share a side. So I'm going to put 50 degrees here. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. Which angle is opposite of the 50? Owen.
2.
Angle 2 is opposite of the 50. Those are vertical angles. So 50 and 2 are vertical angles. Now, let's say I wanted to find what the measure of angle 2 is. What's the measure of angle 2? I heard it. 50. Cece, why?
Because it's the same.
Because they're the same. So, here's how I would write the measure of angle 2. I would put a little m. Angle 2. The measure of angle 2 equals 50 degrees. Oh, I just tripped. Can we find 1 and 3 now? Can we still find 1 and 3?
Yes.
Leighton, how can we find angle 1 and angle 3?
Well,
You're right with yes. You want me to help a little bit? No, go ahead. What?
they measure it to 50.
Well, 1 and 3 don't measure to 50.
They
Trevor?
measure the 180.
Wait, what?
They measure the 180.
What measures to 180? Because you're right.
Lines.
Hmm?
The lines?
Oh yeah, lines are 180 degrees. So I know 50 and angle 1 have to be how many degrees? 180. So I'm going to say 180 minus 50, and I can say the measure of angle 1 equals 130 degrees. Still with me? Uh-oh. Do we have another vertical angle though?
Yes.
What's vertical to angle 1? Izzy?
Okay.
Angle 3. These are formed by two lines that are intersecting. They're non-adjacent, they're opposite. So the measure of angle 3 has to be what? What does the measure of angle 3 have to be, Maddie? What are vertical angles?
Have the same measure.
So if angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, what does the measure of angle 3 have to be? Yeah, 130. So I can say the measure of angle 3 equals 130 degrees. Questions there? Okay. What's up, bud?
What does the top thing say on the example? Above 50? Like the 50 degrees and the under it, what does that say?
Right here?
Yeah, down below, like, yeah.
That's just an arrow pointing to 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all. Good question. I'm going to give you a minute to copy this down. Make sure you've got this. Then I'm going to put one example in your video, and then you're going to be free to go. And the first example is going to be tough. Ooh, first example is going to be tough. Okay, do we at least have linear pair and adjacent angles copied down? We should, right? You are going to want to, listen, you are going to want to work with your partners, with your table, with your group. Talk it over because these are going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, now listen. Here's my questions for you. You're going to see this on your classwork today. It's going to say the measure of angle ACB equals, and it's going to have a space. The measure of angle. Uh-oh. Let's make this a different letter. Let's make this an E. ACB. Let's go angle BCE equals the measure of angle, and we'll call this F. Angle ACF equals. So you are finding 3 angles. I am telling you that this is tougher. I want to see who's my shining stars today. Help each other out. Here's the things that you want to try to remember. Are there straight lines? If there are, we know what they're going to add up to. Are there vertical angles? If there are, we know what they're going to be. Help each other out. We're trying to find angle ACB, BCE, and ACF. I'll give you about 3 minutes, and then I will walk you through the problem. Let's see what you guys got. So give it a go. Copy them down. You absolutely want to have this problem copied down. Why are you knocking my pencils off the tables? Pencils up there. Oh my goodness. You need to have this copied down. Need to. And again, listen. Once you have it copied down and you're working, I should hear you guys talking. I know, it sounds strange, but I should hear you talking to each other. Try to help each other out. Talk it over. Come on. I should see some things happening. I should see you saying the words vertical angles. I should see you saying words. I'm not going to help you right now. I want you guys to talk it over and try to help each other. If you don't know how to do it, I understand you just want to know how, huh?
No, are we supposed to say what type of angle it is?
No, it's the measure. So measures are in degrees. Just like over here. The measure of angle 3 was what? 130 degrees. So the measure of angle ACB is what degree?
Wait, where's that?
Where's what?
Never mind, I found it.
Got about 30 seconds. you're not naming them acute. You're naming with the actual degrees. Whenever it says measure, those are degrees. No. Like, I need a specific amount. So is it going to be 130? Is it going to be 70? Is it going to be 22? So I want an actual degree measure. Okay, so here's how I would attack this problem. Do I have straight lines? I want thumbs up, thumbs down. Do I have straight lines? Right? I have this straight line. I have this straight line. Does everybody agree there? What I would look for is vertical angles. Why? Because I know they have the same measure. So let's look. Vertical angles are formed by two straight lines. Here we go. I have 30 degrees. Is there an angle directly opposite of 30 degrees? Is there? It's over here, right? Boop, 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 boop. That's angle what? What angle is vertical of 30 degrees, Luke? Which one of these three is vertical of 30 degrees?
Angle ACB.
Angle ACB. So what does the measure of angle ACB have to be? 30 degrees. Well, once I've got that, guess what I'm going to write up there? I'm going to write 30 degrees. Everybody still with me? Is this a straight line? Yes. So we know that that straight line has to add up to how many degrees, Renee? How many degrees do straight lines have to add up to? 180. So if this is 30 and this is 90, I'm going to say, okay, this angle is 180 minus, well, what's 30 plus 90? Owen?
12, 120.
120. So I can do 180 minus 120 gives me 60. So this angle is 60 degrees. But which angle is that? Well, that's angle what? Somebody help me. What?
BCE.
Angle BCE. So that's 60 degrees. Last but not least, how am I going to find angle ACF? Do we have a straight line?
Yes.
Well, so if this is 30, what does angle ACF have to be? Go ahead, Emma.
It has to be 180.
The whole line has to be 180. So to find this, I'm going to say 180 minus this portion, which is 30. That leaves me with 150 degrees. Do not stress, this is the first time you've seen it. Is the classwork that I'm going to give you harder than this? Absolutely not. Is it easier? Yeah, it's going to start off easier. You might have one problem like this. We will help you. Okay? I'm here every morning at 7 in the morning if you guys need help.